What's up, everyone? I'm going to get started. Stock market technical analysis. If you're new to the channel, give me a thumbs up. I'll continue to do what I can to provide value, throwing out stock picks and trade ideas. So let's get right into it. And again, check out my training course. Link is in the description below if you're interested in, building a skill set. Okay, so it's crazy out there. I just want everyone that follows me, to just be careful. Don't let your emotions run wild. That's one thing that if you've traded for a while, you'll learn, and typically you'll learn through losses, that you've got to learn to control your emotions as someone who's in the markets, and that it can be very difficult. And that is something I just want everyone to, kind of put a check on that. If you're making a ton of money in, let's say, like these crazy stocks, AMC and GME and stuff, if you're making a ton of money there, all I would say is, first, congratulations, that's awesome. Second, take some off the table, play with the house money. All right, make it impossible for you to lose. That's typically what I do. Anytime I'm trading, I take some off the table as I start to win, start to make money, and I'm right. Take it off the table so that if the trade goes against me, I'm still not going to lose in that trade. And that's all I would suggest. Yeah, you might not, make as much money in the future, but again, take what you have, put it away, use that for your future, and play with the money now that you'd be willing to lose, because like something like GME is not going to give you an opportunity to get out. All right, you're gonna wake up to a big gap down or something crazy, a big halt and gap down. It's not going to give you an opportunity to get out. So when that moment happens, whatever money that you have left in there is probably going to be, you're probably going to lose quite a bit on that money. So as you're making money there, take some off the table. That's what I always suggest. All right, let's get into the Nasdaq futures. We got lots going on today when it comes to these charts that I've had up for quite a while. And, we're starting to get some breakdowns and sell signals on a lot of these other stocks. Nasdaq futures, you can see we're just impulsively kind of selling off. We need to go down a little bit more. But the one thing I want to point out is really the ETFs. Let's look at the Nasdaq here. So Nasdaq's still holding support, which is right around this 323.75. You can see they two kind of wicks that we dipped below it, but they were able to recover that. So far, Nasdaq's still good. Apple, I think Apple earnings are coming out, and Tesla's coming out after the bell. So obviously, this isn't going to break down until probably that. As far as I can tell, what the chart tells me, they're going to be, bad earnings, but doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be bad earnings, but maybe the market just sells them off after it opens tomorrow. So no sell signal really in Qs, but look at the SPY. SPY is starting to break down. Now we got to wait for the daily close, and here's a daily chart on the SPY. You got this bearish rising wedge right here. I just, pointed that out. And we're starting to get that breakdown of that wedge. You can see, we need to see some more selling, and we don't want to see this recover. So again, waiting for that daily close would be the most conservative. But you can see we're starting to break down and sell off. Also, I circled it up here. We do have an island cluster top. You can see here how we gapped up, traded up here for a little while, and then gapped down, creating this island cluster top pattern. So we've got a topping pattern in play. We've got a break of trendline support right here on this bearish rising wedge pattern. We've got negative divergences on the daily charts on RSI and PPO. We have everything that's signaling that a sell-off's coming. The only thing we need to see is more price action to the downside. Let's look at the small caps IWM. This one's interesting because you look here on the hourly, and we have this upward price channel right here. Nice clean upward price channel. We had one false breakdown during the holidays. We just kind of throw that out as an outlier because it was during the holidays. You can get all kinds of crazy stuff happening during that thinly traded market. So there's your upward price channel. And again, we're breaking down today. We did get, that is a sell signal. It's not impulsive yet. We got the gap down, and they're trying, the buyers are stepping in and buying it up. So we got to wait for that daily close to see what this wants to do throughout the day. We could see a big sell-off into the close after the Fed comes out. The Fed might throw some cold water on this market, and that might be the signal. You know, we might see some selling at that point. So look for that. Doesn't mean it's going to show up, but the Fed, I think, comes out here in an hour or so. Also, the other thing is, I'm pretty sure that these crazy stocks like GME and AMC and stuff are in the Russell. I'd have to check. I didn't look, but I think they're in the Russell, and so they might actually be accounting for this dip buying right here, because they're just trading massive volumes right now. Let's take a look at the dollar. DXY hit the top of its range right now, so we've got this big sideways trading range, popped up to the top, and then we've, you know, it's been contained and rejected at resistance so far. So nothing's changed, just this big sideways consolidation pattern on the daily. Still have the bullish falling wedge. We have the breakout. We have bullish divergence right here. So everything tells me the dollar's going higher, but we're just still stuck in this consolidation range. Okay, let's check out PayPal. I am short this one. Pointed it out just yesterday. And you can see here on the hourly chart. So here is the uptrend line right there. And we have negative divergence on the daily. I'll show that here in a second. But we broke, and I pointed it out in the early video yesterday, saying it looks like we're starting to break down. And I did get short at that position, and it is continuing to sell off today with a gap down. So I think it's likely we are heading lower. So as of right now, we're down. It's down about 5% from the call, and yeah, I think we're going lower. So. And here's that first level of support, that support zone that I had marked out. And sure enough, we came right down into it and snapped back up, and we've been holding. So, yeah, we could get a rally and could run up and fill this gap. That's possible. But again, whether we do that, I still think it's kind of a sell the rip. So if we run up, fill the gap, that's probably going to get sold into. And I think ultimately we're heading lower. Break this support zone, head down to 206 is the next level of support. I do think we're heading down that way. Energy here catching a little bit of a bounce. They gapped it down, bought it up. I think it's likely this rally is kind of ended, you know, but we could go all the way up to here, up to about 41, 42, maybe get rejected back up there. Again, it's still below resistance and downtrending, so you're going to see little rallies here and there. And that's what this looks like to me. Nike. So these are just trades that I pointed out in the last couple weeks or so. Nike continuing lower, gapping down another 2%, and hit support. Here's your support right here at 131, and I think that's pretty decent support actually. So I think it's probable we hold here for a little while. Before continuing lower. Carvana, I haven't talked about this one in a while. It's down 6.5% today. And you can see on the daily chart, here's the bigger picture. You've got negative divergence on the PPO, negative divergence on the RSI, and you have a bearish rising wedge pattern. They broke it to the upside twice, so 2 attempts to break out, one there that failed, and one there that has since failed. And now we're heading down to the bottom of the wedge, which will likely get a bounce. But I do think this one breaks to the downside, the bottom of this wedge. Until we got to wait for that breakdown and that sell signal. But I think it is coming. When you see that, this should be a pretty swift move down. But again, we could get another bounce, could get another move up to the top of the wedge. That's completely possible. Until you see that breakdown, you just have to wait. Qualcomm breaking down so far today. We'll see how we close the day. I took a short position on this. If it recovers and it's a false breakdown, I'll just cover that short position. But as of right now, we have a breakdown. So here's your daily chart. You have negative divergence on the daily, on the PPO, negative divergence on the RSI on the daily chart. You have a nice clean uptrend channel going back to the March 2020 lows. two gaps, two big gaps too, and I've marked these gaps out. These are going to be our targets basically, and we got a little level right there. But uptrend channel there, and there's a break. We'll see if if the selling intensifies, but that is a breakdown, and that is a sell signal. Although I would like to see a little more selling today. We're below the support as of right now. If they recover it and it's a bear trap, you just cover, you trade and get out. But again, that's why it's important to watch these trend lines. When you get the breakdown, you can take it, and if they recover it, you cover, you either break even or take a very small loss. If this continues to sell off, which I think it will, and then we're going to have this gap right here as our first target, 130.06. Again, I like to step in a little early and cover. So very likely we get a bounce here. I will likely cover at least some of my position. You get that bounce, you can always add it back. And then ultimately, I think we go lower. Really, the final target in this one I see is about 93.55. I think that's a pretty good target for this one. Zillow Group down another 5% today, continuing to confirm the breakdown. So you've got a sell signal. This is your sell signal in Zillow. I pointed this out just the other day. Here's your uptrend line. We've got negative divergence on the daily chart right there. And you get the sell signal, and you're getting confirmation today, more selling today. So in the last 2 days, this thing, well, really the last 3 days, from the high to the low, down about 16.5% at the low. A little bit of a bounce off the bottom, which is, this is where I had my support as well. If you look at the hourly, pretty much we undercut it just briefly, but basically 132.77 was pretty clear and obvious support. We got a little bounce off there. So there's your reaction. And now I think we fade back down to there and eventually break to the downside. Tesla reports earnings after the bell. I'm short this thing. It's full disclosure. It's a very high risk short. It's kind of a gamble. It's either going to gap down or gap up, most likely. And it's going to be a big move. If it gaps down, I would suspect we probably gap down 10%. And wipe out all this action, probably gapping down something like 799 or so. But again, they could gap it up, and that's completely possible too. If it gaps up, then we're likely to do a back test of this trend line right here, which is going to be up around the 1,000 mark. So we can easily move up to 1,000 and one final kind of move higher, or gap down. So again, I'm not exactly sure. We do have negative divergence on the RSI on the daily chart and on the PPO. So that tells me we're going to come down, but doesn't mean we can't just extend this divergence with one final gap higher. So watch for that. All right, let's look at Citigroup, down another 2% today. This continues to look bearish. So let's just kind of walk through the chart. I'll show you what I'm seeing. Looking at the daily chart, I know I got a lot of lines going on here. The main lines you want to pay attention to is this line right here. We'll just color code it blue. All right, so that's your bull market in Citigroup going back to 2011. All right, so we're just walking up this bull market. Everything's great. Everybody's riding the trend. And then the trend breaks here in the COVID plunge. And at that point, you flip bearish. When you break your bullish trend, just like the S&P 500, that's when I flip bearish, at least, for the longer term stuff, the bigger picture. There's always going to be bear market rallies and whatnot, and that's what I think we just had. So then you break trend, you back test, you overshoot it, briefly, but fail, come back in for what looks like another back test, and I think we're going to continue to fail. Let's look here at what we got going on here. We've got negative divergence right there on the RSI and the PPO on the daily chart. We've got resistance right there at 68.50. Comes back from this reaction right there. And we hit that, overshot it just briefly, and then have failed ever since. There's pretty much been selling ever since we hit that resistance point. And this is what I was talking about when we were in this area. I was saying, look, we have negative divergence. We're coming into resistance. We're likely going to reverse right here. And sure enough, so far, we've reversed. Now, you can't say we've made a new downtrend because we need to kind of see lower lows. But again, I think we are. Looking at the hourly, you can see here on the hourly, we basically, this blue line, we've broken back below that. So that's your 2011, that's your bull market trend line, and we're back below it. So as of right now, Citigroup had a false breakout. All right, that's a bull trap where you've broken higher, makes it look, everything looks great, looks like we're going to run higher, and then sell off. And so far, it's a false breakout. It doesn't have to stay that way. We could recover the trend line, but as of right now, a false breakout. And if you look at the hourly, we gap down, they buy the dip. You move down, they buy the dip. You gap down. Where's the dip buying today? We're not seeing it at quite as much. So we'll see how this goes, but I think it's probably going to continue to break down. Where are we going? Well, I think there's a gap right here at 53.50. Probable we can run down to there. We break below that. I don't see a whole lot. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of potential support right in this area, right about 50 or 49 bucks. I guess we'll leave that one up there. And then below 49 bucks, really we've got about this 38.50 area. We've got some reactions from the past, I believe. Well, just a couple right there. So again, the lows, the March lows, somewhere in that area. We'll just watch it as it progresses. This one, I pointed out, this is a copper miner. Again, copper is part of that reflation trade. Starting to see that trade break a little bit. We don't have all the signs that we need, but we're starting to see it. Again, gold broke a while ago. Gold was going up on the inflation thesis, and gold broke, forecasting that the dollar was potentially going to rise. We're starting to see oil trade pretty weak, and copper was still the shining metal there. It was still looking good, but we're starting to see signs that copper's breaking. This is a copper miner, Southern Copper. Freeport-McMoRan's another one, FCX. But this one, the chart looked good. So here's the March lows. You got the uptrend line there. We broke trend, created another uptrend line, and we're breaking that trend now. So does this just create another uptrend line? Well, that's possible. But as of right now, we've broken. Looking at the daily chart, you can see we have negative divergence because we have an equal high in the RSI. We don't really have it in the PPO, so something to take note of. But we do have it in the RSI, and we have a sell signal right there, which is a breakdown. So I'm expecting more selling. Could be into the close. We could sell off into the close, and maybe that's going to, confirm some of this. But as of right now, that's your sell signal. Where do we go? Well, first level support. We got some support right here, about 58.69. It's not huge support, and we break that, and I think we're really going to start to head down to about 49 bucks, somewhere right in here. Got a little bit of support. Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. It's not the best support, but yeah, it's right about there. That was some resistance right there. If I zoom in, you can see we had some reactions. We got rejected there, rejected there, rejected there. 3 reactions. So I like that. That's about 48.64. So those are some levels to watch. Someone asked me why I don't have a lot of long trades right now, and that's just because the market's at like all-time highs in pretty much any kind of euphoric indicator that you look at, whether it's the put-call ratio, the RSI. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can look at, the CAPE ratio, that shows you that the market's at kind of all-time extremes. So I'm not really looking to get long an all-time extreme market. I just, if you're long, you can continue to stay long until that trade is dead. But I'm not trying to point out long trades and, on that kind of stuff. But I did point out a long trade, and I said, look, this is a trade idea. Everything on this channel is just my opinion and just trade ideas. But UVXY, or, long volatility, essentially, which, volatility goes up typically when the market comes down. So it is, in essence, it's a short trade, but it's going long volatility. And that's up 17% today. So I've been pointing that out. Now we haven't broken the range, the trend range right here, which is about right there. We're still in that range. So no breakouts yet. I think it's very likely we get the breakout in volatility after the close. Maybe Apple doesn't do good. I don't know what it's going to be, but again, I think we're going to get the breakout. We have the bullish divergence here on the daily chart, on the PPO and the RSI. Both are showing bullish momentum. We have a sideways price zone right now. So we need to see the break above this 1275 and a daily close. Again, when the breakout comes, it's going to be impulsive and it's going to be massive. So you're going to see a big breakout, probably up to like 16 or something, and this thing will start to run higher. Okay, that's really all I got for now. I just want to point out that we're starting to see some of these stocks, these high-flying kind of bubble-ish stocks, are starting to break down. I don't know why it's happening right now, but perhaps the retail trade, which they've been really heavy in a lot of these bubble stocks, which I've got a lot of them marked out in red here, like Peloton and stuff. They're buying Chewy today for some reason, but they've been really loading up in these, and perhaps their attention is focused on this GME stuff. It's kind of sucking all the attention from the news media and everything. So maybe while they're not paying attention, these other stocks are going to start technically breaking down, because I'm seeing technical breakdowns in a lot of them, like Qualcomm. You can see, for example, this thing has just been in a nice steady uptrend, clean uptrend. It's breaking today. So that is really what I want to point out. And again, give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.